Planning Commission will now come to order. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Cindy Showerman,
Here.
Daniel Foreman,
Present.
Jerry Bushelman,
Present.
Gail Schick,
Present.
Kelly Hall,
Present.
Timothy Reddick,
Present.
First item is review of the agenda by the Planning Commission for any addition of items or new business to be added. Scott, you had an update for us on a couple things, right?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we would like to remove items B1 and C1 from the agenda for further review before bringing them back to the Planning Commission.
Okay, if I can have a motion on that.
I would move to approve the agenda with the removal of items B1 and C1 as presented.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Showerman, second by Commissioner Riddick, that we remove items B1 and C1 of the agenda and go forward with the rest of the items. Those in favor of the motion will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no. Motion carries unanimously. Next item is public invited to be heard. If there is anyone in the audience, which is a small group, that has an item that they wish to present to the Planning Commission that is not on tonight's agenda, now is the time to do so. And if you do have something to present, if you come to the podium, give us your name and address, and you'll have a 3-minute time limit to give us your information. And it don't seem like there's anybody going to be coming up to the podium, so we'll move along to the next item. We removed B1 from the agenda, remove C1. We will now close our regular meeting, open up a public hearing for parking determination for Windshire Subdivision 4th filing. Carlin, you got the floor.
Did you open the public hearing, Chair?
Yes.
Thank you, if I may. Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, I'd like to disclose I'm a sitting member of the town board, and I'm here in my capacity as a non-voting liaison to the Planning Commission. Although I will be present during this public hearing, I will not be giving my opinion or participating in the discussion. I will not let tonight's proceedings influence or affect my review of this matter when, if it comes before the town board. I will make my decision at the town board level based solely on the evidence presented during that town board public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, David. I think you're going to have to practice that statement a little more, so.
Tried to do it without my reading glasses. It didn't work.
Okay, Carlin.
Mr. Chair, the items 2 and 3 do not go to the town board. That is the planning commission has the final decision on a parking determination. Just for clarification. But thank you for your statement.
That's a good point. We don't want to have it go to town board when it don't need to.
Okay, so this request is for a parking determination for a couple uses that are not enumerated in the town's code and therefore do not have a parking requirement for those uses. This request was reviewed in accordance with the parking determination section of the municipal code. And this property is located north of Jacoby Road, west of 15th Street, and more specifically north of Windshire Drive and south of Guardian Drive in the Windshire subdivision. This is currently the 4th filing. The property consists of 8.5 acres and it is zoned residential mixed use, which allows for a number of residential uses as well as commercial. This use is assisted living and senior housing, so a portion of that would fall under a commercial use. Or I guess this whole project actually is under commercial use. The master plan was updated recently. This was the 3rd amendment. Previously, there were 60 multifamily units that were approved on this site, and the applicant took this back for an amendment for the senior housing. This allows them to have 123 units based on sewer capacity. In the event that the senior housing does not occur, this would go back to the 60 units of multifamily being allowed. The assumption was that 1.2 people per unit would live in these units, which is less than the townhome units that were previously approved. And therefore, the parking would also be less than a multifamily use. Here they're showing a parking count of 145 spaces with the 123 units. Oh, I'm sorry, total parking spaces for all 4 phases would be 164. So this is a breakdown of the different phases by unit type and the percentages. And although phase 3 and 4 do not have specifics on the types of units, whether they'll be 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom, we know that there will be a combination of 1 and 2 bedrooms, and they will be consistent with what's shown here, around 85% or more. And then the 2 bedrooms being the minority of the types of units. So based on that, and the 1.2 people per unit, that comes out to a parking ratio of 1.1 spaces per person. And given that most of the units will be 1 person, some who will not have cars or be unable to drive, the request seems justifiable. Also looking at the total number of parking spaces per unit and a ratio of 1.33 spaces per dwelling unit. These are 2 properties that are currently under Loveland Housing Authority, Windsor Housing Authority control, and Century 3 here in Century 3 here in Windsor has more 2-bedroom units, and you'll see they have a parking ratio of 1.15, and then Mirasol 3 in Loveland, 1.13 spaces per unit, but again, more 2-bedroom units. This was a public hearing. This is a rather unique public hearing in that the property is posted and the advertisement goes in the Greeley Tribune, but surrounding notifications to neighbors are not a requirement. This was also posted on the town's website. And in accordance with section 161030A7 regarding parking determinations, staff is recommending that Planning Commission determine that the parking is adequate as proposed. Staff requests that the following be entered into the record: the application, supplemental materials, staff memorandum, supporting documents, any testimony received during the public hearing, and the staff recommendation. And that concludes my presentation.
Is the applicant available, or did you have any information to provide? I just asked the question.
Anything else?
Just want to make sure you get your 2 cents in.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Dave Lingle. I'm a development project manager with the Loveland Housing Authority. We are acting as the developer in partnership with the Windsor Housing Authority, and we acted in a similar capacity for Windsor Meadows phases 1 and 2, the family housing that's immediately south of this proposal. Darcy McClure is also here. She's our Director of Real Estate Development. And I'm just here, I can answer any questions you might have. I think Carlin covered all of the pertinent information pretty well. I would like to point out that there are a couple places that the total number of units is identified as 124, and the correct number is 123, which is what Carlin had referenced.
So that's 1.1 less parking space.
So I'm available for any questions if
Any
you
questions
have
from the
anything.
commission? Comments?
Just a clarification, Carlin. So you mentioned that due to sewer capacity, if for some reason this project were to fall through, that the capacity would revert back if it went to a standard multifamily. I assume if it went back to standard multifamily, it would also wipe out this parking determination?
Correct.
Okay.
This is specific to this use only because the code doesn't include this as a use in the permitted uses table
Okay.
or in the
Thought I was
parking
reading that
requirements.
Right, but just want to be sure.
Okay. Any other comments, questions from anyone in the audience since this is the public hearing portion of the process?
Chairman, I move we close the public hearing.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Bushnell, second by Commissioner Foreman, that will close the public hearing. Those in favor of the motion will vote yes, those opposed vote no. Motion carries unanimously. We'll now reconvene our regular meeting, moving along to item number 3, the parking determination for Windshire subdivision, fourth filing. Anything further, Carl?
Nothing further.
Okay. Any comments, questions, input?
I would move to approve the parking determination as presented.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Showerman, second by Commissioner Bushelman, that we approve the parking recommendation by staff as presented. Those in favor of the motion will vote yes, those opposed vote no. And the motion carries unanimously. Thank you for your time. Really know how to pack them in here, though. Okay. Communications from Planning Commission.
No communications?
Mr. Foreman.
Nothing tonight.
Bushelman.
Nothing today.
Ms. Hall.
Nothing.
Mr. Reddick.
No, sir.
Communication from our town board liaison.
Have a good holiday.
Thank you. Communication from staff. Carla?
Same thing. Happy holidays.
Okay. Scott?
Just sorry, the sports park was predetermined schedule. We're moving at the speed of light, working with them, reviewing plan sets every other week, pretty much. And there were just a few things that were different in your packet.
So now you're moving at the speed of dark, huh?
Well, no, we're still meeting with them early and often and regularly. It's just a couple of things that we wanted to iron out before we bring it back for planning commission. And then just in the upcoming meeting, I'm sorry.
Next week.
Yeah, no, it won't be next week. Right.
Special meeting?
Yeah. Upcoming meeting dates, did want to call your attention, we'll add these for January. The town board will have a few work sessions that may be of planning commission interest. On the 13th, we'll be hearing some of the high-level recommendations from the Transportation Master Plan consultant and getting town board direction and feedback to go into the draft that'll be coming forward very quickly in the first quarter.
That's the 13th, you said?
I'm sorry?
13th?
The 13th, yes, is the Transportation Master Plan. And then on the 20th and 27th of January, both of those work sessions will be oil and gas related. One will be some location conversation, and on the 27th, it'll be a follow-up to the air quality conversation that was started, but apparently a couple of our guests weren't able to make it with the snowstorm the last time.
Yeah,
So-
that's crazy.
So we'll follow up on those as well. We'll add those just so that you can attend
Okay.
and monitor those as you wish. That's all I have.
Okay. And you're glad to be here, I think. Take a motion to adjourn.
Were you doing?
We are adjourned.